All right, I was just coming back down the hill from shooting at Good Vibes Breakfast Club, and unfortunately someone has crashed.
You'd think that if there's one thing we could agree on, it's the beautiful combination of a great car and an incredible road. From North Carolina's Tail of the Dragon to Triple Nickel in Ohio to Angeles Crest Highway outside LA, this country is blessed with some of the best stretches of pavement on the planet. The call of these world-class roads is unstoppable. And you know, maybe it was inevitable that they'd turn into a battleground, not between car enthusiasts and the general public, but within the car community itself.
I got you, you bastard!
It used to be real chill, and now it's usually not that chill.
If someone is doing like a burnout up here, whatever, it's like a bad look because then it makes everyone look like we all do it.
If you haven't been paying attention, there's a war going on right now between drivers who think these places were built for racing, drivers who think there's a right way and a wrong way to push the limits on public roads, and drivers who think the whole fight is absolutely ridiculous and putting an entire culture at risk. Like many wars, there's a whole lot of moral ambiguity, false assumptions, and unspoken expectations heating up all sides. And sadly, like many wars, people are dying to prove a point. So let's take a look at how we all got the twisties so twisted, and if we can somehow find a way out. The latest flashpoint started a couple of months ago. A man named Evan Sawyer, who goes by the Canyon Carver on Instagram, posted a sort of ridiculous video of himself hiding in the bushes in Malibu and jumping out to scream at a group of Porsche drivers taking a racing line through a tight curve and crossing the double yellow, or crossing the mustard.
Don't cross the mustard! F*** you guys! F*** you!
Now, what you need to know about Evan is that this is kind of his thing. He also has an ongoing feud with the lead driver in that particular convoy, Court Wagner, a Pro-Am racer who's competed in the Ferrari World Challenge and won the Porsche World Cup back in 1999, who also regularly organizes canyon runs with his rich friends. Evan's video went viral, because how could it not, and Court didn't take kindly to being put on blast like this. His main defense, which he perhaps unwisely put into an angry DM to well-known personality Spike Ferenstein, was that he's a professional. He's been driving like this on Mulholland for 45 years with no accidents. And the real offense is people throwing the spotlight on some harmless fun and endangering the laissez-faire relationship Canyon Carvers have with law enforcement. Well, that's one way to deflect. Now, I think most of you would look at that video and say, yeah, you shouldn't do that. And with a less confrontational delivery, Evan's point might have been heard as intended. But what a lot, and I mean a lot of folks heard, was that anyone who crosses the double yellow anywhere, anytime, has committed the ultimate sin and is just too stupid to know it or too bad of a driver to avoid it. And as you can see in the thousands of comments on that post, that message gave room for tons of people to frame it like Evan's being an ass and Court and his friends are just innocent victims caught up in someone else's content.
Kids, you're both just awful.
When we say canyon carving, we're talking about the general idea of taking your car to a remote road and driving, shall we say, beyond legal limits. The term has its roots in the car and motorcycle scene in Southern California, where the great driving roads are literally carved through canyons. But it's come to apply to hitting any out there curvy road where traffic is light, police are non-existent, and temptations run high. Up on a place like Angeles Crest Highway, the definition of reckless driving shifts. Because really, what's the harm? To a lot of folks, as long as you have a clear line of sight, speed limits, just a suggestion, and the double yellow line is optional. Even if you can't see around the next curve, what are the chances of oncoming traffic when you haven't seen another car around for miles? And speeding, or crossing the mustard, or even wheel-to-wheel racing up there is far better than cutting it up on the freeway. I don't personally subscribe to that, but that's the rationale some people use. Then there's the fact that these roads seem to serve little other purpose today. Take the Tail of the Dragon, for example. It used to be a main thoroughfare through western North Carolina, but now interstate highways exist, so the Dragon has been left to real drivers and sightseers. Other roads, like Highway 39 here in California, literally go nowhere. Many were built decades before we figured out how to transform mountainous landscapes into smoother, straighter byways. In a world where track driving is getting less and less accessible by the day, these spots are increasingly seen as the best and safest places to learn your car, hone your skills, and get some intrusive thoughts out of your system. And if you're already a great driver, or maybe even an actual racer, what you're doing is safer than the millions of bad drivers heading out to work every morning. But safer doesn't mean safe. Last December saw one of the worst crashes in recent memory up on ACH when Vince Zampella, the famous game developer and co-creator of the Call of Duty franchise, went off the road in his Ferrari 296 GTS at high speed, smashed into a concrete barrier, and killed both himself and his passenger. It's actually the very same spot where 10 years ago, a famous dashcam video shows a guy in a Subaru Forester screwing up and spinning over the cliff's edge, somehow miraculously escaping without major injuries.
Oh no! Oh no!
And Vince wasn't inexperienced, but he still made a mistake that all of us are capable of making, or maybe even have made and gotten away with it, whether or not we want to admit it.
Last summer, I was up here in the mountains testing a Lotus Emira when a guy in a tuned Lexus IS came up behind me and wanted to play. I will admit, I engaged and I did my best to shake him. And honestly, thank God I did, because the second he disappeared from my rearview mirror as I was flying through a curve, a deer came flying off an embankment and landed in the middle of the road right in front of me. Slammed on the brakes, full panic stop, and somehow I came to a halt just a few feet in front of that thing. If that had happened while that guy was riding my tail, he would have plowed right into me, or worse, swerved and gone right over the edge.
My point is this: you can drive the same road for decades, know it like the back of your hand, but it's not a track. It's the real world, subject to the same variations and surprises as any other road.
I actually think it's more dangerous driving out here than it is on track, because you've got all this unpredictability here, and on track, you know what's going on, and you got good sight lines, you know what the other drivers are going to do. Here, you don't know what's going to happen.
I have to constantly be aware that not everybody lives by my rules, and if I come around a corner, there might be somebody in my lane. That's another reason to not go 10-10.
This is all actually a good example of survivorship bias. Not having an accident yourself while still engaging in the same behaviors in the same places that frequently lead to accidents is not proof that you're never going to have one.
The tricky part about talking about all of this is canyon culture is by nature undefined. No one holds the keys, no one tells you you're in it, there are no standards one has to meet to partake. These roads are full of people up here for different reasons, with different mindsets, different skill levels, and different approaches to the whole thing. A group of air-cooled Porsches coming up Angeles Crest in the middle of the day is far different than a solo RX-7 tackling Tail of the Dragon at midnight.
Rumors of a red RX-7 being driven by the fastest person on the Tail of the Dragon have been circulating for over a decade. And more recently, that car has been spotted again. This story, and many like it, inspire thousands of drivers to go out and become a legend in their own minds, because canyon culture isn't just full of stories of fast drivers. It's steeped in stories of drivers who got fast because of the canyons. Initial D is all about a young driver whose skill comes from driving mountain passes every single morning. It's loosely based on the life and skill of Keiichi Tsuchiya, otherwise known as the Drift King, the father of modern-day drifting, and the one who punted that culture into the mainstream with his video Plus B. Plus B features an AE86 drifting on public canyon roads in Japan. It was not the only video like this, just the most popular. We could do a whole breakdown on Tsuchiya's career, but the point I want to make is that even though he got into motorsport through street racing, Plus B came out in 1987, when Tsuchiya was 10 years deep in his professional motorsport career. So while some people look at it as a showcase of skills you can only learn on the streets, the fact is Tsuchiya is as much a professional racing driver as a former street racer, if not more. All right, since registering your cars in Montana is a bad plan to save money, I've got a better one. Get the Upside app. It's a free app that you can use to get cash back on three things we all spend way too much money on right now: groceries, dining, and gas. I mean, I paid $6.50 a gallon the other day. Or I would have if Upside didn't come through with a 60 cents per gallon cashback offer. $5.90 still sucks, but what can you do? Anyway, I use it, you should too, and it could not be easier. You download the app, claim any available offer nearby, go buy the thing with your card, and that's it. The rewards pile up fast, and you can cash out to your bank account when you want because, again, this is real money, not fake points. Plus, you can stack Upside's offers on top of your credit card points or loyalty programs. That's cash back on your cash back. Come on, It sounds pretty good, right? Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. So to find out how much you could earn, download the free Upside app and use the promo code THEDRIVE to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code THEDRIVE. The polarized reaction to the Canyon Carver's video speaks to another element here. And that's the point of view that if you choose to drive fast and you end up hurting or killing yourself, it's tragic, sure, but it's also your decision. Don't we prize individual freedoms in this country anymore? A few problems with that line of thinking. One, the best canyon carving roads are rarely, if ever, truly empty.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure you know the feeling of being stuck behind a minivan loaded with camping gear, driven by an NPC who conveniently forgets how to read every single time one of those slow drivers use turnout signs goes by. But let's not forget that those NPCs vastly outnumber enthusiasts, and they're not going to differentiate between a good driver and a bad one, especially if they have to swerve out of the way to avoid a head-on collision because someone thinks it's cool to cut across the double yellow on a blind curve. When you're up there, you're not actually by yourself. You've got the reputation of the entire car community riding shotgun, and your decisions have a knock-on effect on everyone else who loves to drive.
Mostly a good crew up here. It seems like there is at least a critical mass of people that are like, don't be a fucking clown. And that seems to bleed out. We used to have a lot of people try to take that turn as fast as they could to, like, I don't know, show off to other middle-aged men. And now that's not quite as prevalent as it was.
I will never try to push beyond my boundaries just for clout.
More and more people are posting their runs to social media with a cute little sticker over the speedometer, chasing views and turning canyon carving into a game of attention. And people have learned that the more rage their post generates, the wider the algorithm spreads it, so there's a built-in incentive to drive as outrageously as possible. Not only does this encourage more people to do it, and in all likelihood more people with less skills than you, it gives the rest of the world, including law enforcement, even more reason to paint all enthusiasts with the same brush. Finally, you can look at it like this. I'm sure a lot of you have had the experience of heading out to your road of choice and hitting a police roadblock because there's been a bad crash and the whole thing is shut down. Even setting aside the toll that dealing with those crashes takes on first responders, irresponsible canyon carving can literally take the experience away from your fellow enthusiasts. Maybe for just an afternoon, or maybe for a lot longer if police get sick of the carnage and decide to clamp down hard.
It's always just cops and it's always people doing dumb shit, and like there's like good people up here. It's like a good community up here, and like
Ultimately, because the spirit of canyon carving is built around breaking the law, an unspoken set of rules have sprung up over the years to somehow define it for everybody. And now, those are colliding with the reality that social media has blown up the spot, made these roads much more accessible to everybody, and it's harder than ever, maybe impossible, to keep things operating as they were. Listen, I'm just one guy, and I'm not going to say that only I have the right point of view, and it would all be fine if everyone just listened to me. That's the mistake our friend Evan made. But I do think that we at The Drive have a responsibility to use our platform to lay out the guidelines for canyon carving that have served us well.
Never ever cross the yellow line or cross the mustard, as people call it. If I can't see more than 6 to 8 car lengths in front of me, I would definitely slow down.
I never drive anywhere near the limit of the vehicle. I drive like maybe 70% of my personal limit because I know I'm going to be well under what the car can do, and I always leave room for gravel, unexpected things, corners, so I'm never really pushing the car.
You know, if you drive 10/10 up here, then there's absolutely no room for error.
I'm afraid of the motorcycles the most because they're fast and they are not patient. They think they can quickly pass. That's my main concern.
If there's a car behind you on a mountain, just get out of the way. It takes 3 to 5 seconds. Everything's fine. Let them go on by. Everyone's happy.
If I get to live another day, come back here another day, that's a win.
Whether or not you listen to any of this is your choice, but I will just say this. I think we'd all rather this community be able to police itself than the actual police. A little infighting is natural in a high-stakes moment when it feels like car enthusiasm is under siege for so many reasons. And as hard as it is to come to an agreement over unwritten rules, it's really fucking important that we try. Because the more that we do that, the less room we make in the conversation for the actual police. And that is how we keep canyon carving alive and well for everyone.
If you've gotten this far and still think that none of this matters, take a look at the comments where people are going to be sharing their stories and experiences. We have a lot to learn from each other. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.